You're listening to The Artist Athlete. Show number 3, darling. I'm Shannon McKenna, and I'm the host of the Artist Athlete podcast. This podcast is dedicated to CIRCUS. It's a resource for those working in the industry to share our stories, viewpoints, and information, and a place for outsiders to get a sneak peek into our world. This week's guest is Brandon Livanos. Brandon was a high diver who got into stunt work in his native South Africa before going on to perform in Franco Dragone's show House of Dancing Water in Macau. He has then performed in Cavalia, been on the creation of Turok, and is now an acrobat on Cirque du Soleil's show Volta. This interview was recorded while I was in Tampa visiting my friends, and I was teaching some workshops down there. And about a week after the recording, because I record these a few weeks out, so a week after Brandon and I sat down, one of the performers on the show, Jan Arnaud, he fell during a show and he passed away from the injuries he sustained from that fall. And I didn't want to ignore the fact that it happened. That feels really disingenuous and weird to do. But I also didn't know Jan personally, so I don't feel like I have a lot of right to talk about it. So I emailed with Brandon and I thought a lot about it. And what I want to say is this. Sometimes it seems like the only thing that ever makes the news about individual acrobats is when tragedy happens. And I created this podcast because I want to celebrate individual artists in the circus community. Artists that go on stage every night and they give with all their hearts the gift of performing for the audiences. That's what I want to highlight. Jan shared his talent with countless audience members, and Brandon and I would both like to dedicate this episode to him. Okay, Brandon Livanos. Am I saying it right? Cool. He's nodding, so I did say it right. Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
Excellent. So you have an accent.
I do. I have a South African accent.
Oh, you have a South African accent? Where are you from?
Yes, from South Africa.
Yeah.
I was born in Benoni, which is a small little town outside of Johannesburg.
Okay.
It's the same town that Charlize Theron was born in. Is the Hollywood actress.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We had 2 famous people from the town.
Yeah, not really me, but she's famous for sure. But a circus performer from the town. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
And you started in high diving. We were talking about this a little bit, right?
No, I actually started out as a tumbler first.
Okay.
Like normal long tumbling on the ground. And I did that for several years. I competed for South Africa, went to World Junior Games. And then after all of my after my tumbling career, I went into diving.
Gotcha. Why did you make the switch?
I think I got to like 16, 17 and I was just tired of all the discipline and hard work in tumbling and wanted to have a bit of a life. So for about a year or so, I did that. I stopped and I had a bit of a life, and then I just missed the acrobatics so much after that. And when I went to university, there was a diving pool near my university, so it seemed natural just to go to the pool and play around and do somersaults. And through that, a coach saw me and I just started to train, and yeah, I got into diving and competed for South Africa too in diving afterwards. And yeah.
Competed in what?
Springboard and platform. So
okay.
3 meter, 1 meter, and 10 meter.
10 meter, that's what?
I don't know what that is in feet.
Well,
we can find out.
Oh yeah, we can totally just pull out the iPhone.
But that was competitive diving. Later I went to higher, to like 27 meters.
27 meters?
Yeah, but that was
I don't know what that is in feet, but I know it's super high.
Okay, so 10 meters is... So 32 feet is what I was competing in.
32 feet.
Yeah, which is not too high. But then when I did circus, I was doing 27 meters, which is 88.58 feet. That was really high.
Yeah, 88 feet?
Yeah, that's high. Then you hit the water at like, man, I want to say like 90 kilometers an hour or something.
Holy
It's pretty fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What is that, like, how do you train up to jumping off something that high? Do you just go for it the first time, or you, like, incrementally get up there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had done up to 10 meters before, and then when I joined Franco Dragone's show in Macau, the House of Dancing Water, they had progression steps. There was a 10-meter platform, there was a 14-meter platform, there was a 17-meter platform, there was a 20-meter platform, 21 and a half, and then the highest one was the 20. It was between 25 and 27 meters in the show. So you could progress up, and it took about 1 year to progress to that height. Even having a diving background and knowing how to fly and control myself, going up to 27 meters it's pretty high.
Yeah, that's like a mental, like, whoa, crazy. So did you audition for Dragone? How did you get on that show?
They found me on YouTube, actually.
They found you on YouTube?
Yeah, I had a video out and I put it on YouTube, and I don't know if somebody that knew them posted it to them, but they found me on YouTube and contacted me and was like, can you move to China in 2 weeks? And I was like, yeah, I'll go to China in 2 weeks, and moved to Dragone, and been in circus ever since.
Nice. How long were you on House of Dancing Water?
I did 2 years initially.
Okay.
Then I left and I went to another show, went to Cavalia. But then I went back to House of Dancing Water for another 6 months, a year later. So all in all, it was 2.5 years.
And I read somewhere you also did stunt work.
Yeah.
In LA? Was that before or after?
That was before. Not in LA. It was in Cape Town, South Africa.
Ah, okay.
There's a big film industry in Cape Town. And I did it there. Yeah. Did some stunt work, did some movies.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Do you think the stunt work helped your performing live?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think that helped?
Before that, I was an athlete, so your mentality is very different as an athlete, completely. Like you execute. You do one routine, you work the entire year for one competition, and you execute. Going into stunts helped me understand and conceptualize what it is to perform and to build up towards that and immerse yourself in a character and learn how to change. It's not just so much about you, it's about the character you display and how to open yourself up. And so definitely learning stunts was a transitional phase for me into bigger performances.
Cool. And
I had some acting classes and stuff for the stunt work, and so started to open up. I started stunts when I was 23, so I started opening my mind up to performing when I was 23. I only joined the circus when I was 27, but that 4 years of doing stunt work definitely helped as a performer.
Yeah, for sure. I bet.
Completely.
What's the craziest stunt you had to do?
Oh man, the craziest. The craziest was probably a fire burn or a car hit or something like that. But one funny story I have with the stunts is it was the movie Chronicle. I was doubling the lead actor Dane DeHaan. And there's a scene where his character is like a superhero and he's gone crazy and he's destroying the city, and he flies into something and falls onto a car and the car explodes and then he lands on the ground. And I did that, but my head landed on the curb of the concrete and I split the back of my head open. You can feel there's a big dent here.
Oh my God, that is a really big dent.
And I had to get 12
There's a very large dent on the back of Brandon's head.
Yeah. And then they had to rush me off to the hospital and I had to get 12 staples, and I didn't really remember what was happening. And
yeah. But you didn't get a concussion? Or?
I did get a concussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were
I didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah, there's no way you would,
no.
you wouldn't experience something.
I'm still probably
that.
concussed from it.
That's brutal. Have you ever been part of a creation?
Yeah, 2 creations. I did the House of Dancing, not the House of Dancing, sorry. I did Taruk creation.
Okay.
And I did the creation for Volta.
For Volta.
Yeah. House of Dancing Water, I came just immediately after the creation and was there for a transitional phase while they were going into show mode and stuff. But 2 full creations of Cirque du Soleil, yeah.
Can you explain that process?
That's
a fun process?
Yeah, that's an interesting process. So we arrive, I want to say 10 months before the show is opened. We will do the first 3 months. The artist will arrive and the concept of the show is there and the script is written out and everything. And they will basically put us on the apparatus that they have in idea with cameras and just film for 6 hours a day. Let us play, let us come up with content. They'll have some choreographers come in and watch it and work with us and grow the movement that they think is the best. But for the first 3 months, all we're doing is character workshop, playing on all the apparatus, just getting content. Then the next 3 months, the directors will take those ideas that we created with the narrative, and they'll start staging, and they'll start plugging in what we've done and developed with our acting coaches, with the choreographers, and create the show's content. It's a very natural, organic process that happens, and long hours, 12 to 14 hours a day, training, working 6 hours training, 2 hours dance, 1 hour acting workshops, buffon classes, clowning. It's a creative wonderland. Like, they just put you in Montreal at the headquarters in Cirque du Soleil, and you just are absorbed in just creativity and playing and learning. It's intense. It's great. I recommend it for any performer who has the opportunity to do a creation, to do a creation.
Nice. How is Volta different than Turek?
Many differences. Firstly, Turek was an arena,
yeah,
which is completely different to Big Top. Volta's a big top.
Can you explain that difference a little bit more?
Yeah, so arena is, you can perform up to something like 14 to 15,000 people a night, depending on sales. And it's a lot bigger. You're in their arena, so you go to the whichever arena.
Mercedes-Benz,
yeah,
or
Madison
one of these
Square
like,
Garden, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
You perform in their arena. You bring in your equipment. The riggers set it up. You're only there for 1 week. You're a guest of their entire space. You're limited to what you can do. You basically are restricted to stage because that's all you can rehearse and study, rehearse and practice. Whereas Big Top, you're also moving, but you're moving the entire set, your entire tent. You have so much more freedom as to enter from the houses, to do different things. It's intimate. It's only 2,000 people, but you're in a closed, confined space. Arenas are really big, so it's a lot. Everyone likes the different things, but for me personally, the Big Top is more. It's really more circusy to it. It's got a real circus feel to it. You're close quarters. You feel the tense energy. As a performer, I enjoy a Big Top more personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. The other differences are...
well, Turek is also based on Avatar, right?
That is based on Avatar, right. So there's... we had a lot of input from James Cameron and Lighthouse, who is his company, in what we need to do and how we need to do it. So there was a partner involved in that creation, which was completely different to Volta. Volta was completely a Cirque du Soleil production. Yeah. So it was completely all Cirque's ideas. And so it was two very different experiences. One was a 50-50 partnership with Cirque and with Lighthouse, and the other one was just completely Cirque du Soleil. So both experiences were different. Both shows are completely different. Narratives are different. Concepts are different. Volta's a lot more high acrobatic, I would say, whereas Turek is a lot more character-based and very big with the bioluminescent lighting. And so very different experiences, but both shows.
On Volta, you're doing
swinging rings, and parkour.
Which they cut, the parkour.
Which last night was our finale for parkour. It's been cut now, and we will have trampo wall coming in place of that.
Gotcha. And are you doing that number?
And I will do trampo wall too.
Okay.
Yes, I will do.
So did they have to rehearse that number on?
They have. So what happened, right, is Lanuba's closed recently, and they had a very good trampo wall act, and they had really strong trampo wall artists. So they've taken those guys from Lanuba, they trained them in Montreal and created a whole new act, a whole new structure that will fit the concept and the narrative of Volta. They've been there for the past 3 months. They arrived last week, those guys. Parkour's finished now. Now they will plug in what they did in Volta, in the headquarters in Montreal, into our show this week. So this entire week, we don't actually have shows Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. We'll just be in recreation. We'll be working from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m., just recreating the new parkour act as a trampo wall act.
That's, if you haven't seen the show yet, this may not make sense, but that's so crazy because part of what was so interesting was the way that the stage moved for the parkour act.
Yeah.
Do they still have those elements?
They will still have that. Okay. They will still have it's a surprise, so I don't want to give away too much, but basically they will also have the trampo wall fits in line with the narrative once again of the show. So like you said, the lifts move, and the show's an urban show, so everything is urban. Like basically in the parkour act, we would come out and we would infiltrate the city with these free spirits, and we would come out and they made the entire set look like the city, and the parkour structures would move around and stuff like they were city walls. Now they've just taken the trampo wall and they've created the exact same images for trampoline. The trampoline walls will look like the walls, will look like the cityscape, and artists will jump in and through windows and climb around.
Cool.
So there's still a parkour concept with it, but with trampo wall.
Cool.
And it raises the acrobatic level quite a bit.
Yeah.
As parkour was super strong and great, we found that the show battled with the one-dimensionality of parkour. It's very much on the ground and very much low acrobatics, whereas audiences really relate to things in the air and people flying, and trampo wall creates that second dimension.
Yeah.
We can really take it up and lift the acrobatic level.
Who makes those decisions to take out a number, to put in an act?
Montreal is in charge of all shows content. I think we have 27 shows running or something at the moment, and Montreal makes the final decisions. It is based on a peer decision. Like all acts get rated by the coaches in every different show. And for instance, like parkour, it was not the audience also decided, the reviews and stuff. Cirque gets them to fill out review papers after the show of what they like and stuff. And parkour was always scoring on the lowest. The acrobatic content wasn't strong. So that was one factor. Another factor was that the coaching department of Cirque du Soleil analyzes the shows and analyzes acrobatic quality, and parkour's quality wasn't that high. So that was another one. Then we had the conceptors come and see the show, and we tried to recreate parkour, which we did do. We had a whole new act in parkour, but it still just wasn't hitting home to the level that Cirque wanted, unfortunately.
Sure.
So then the next decision is to retire the act, still have some parkour elements in it, but add trampoline so that it takes it to another level.
Yeah.
So it's not completely cut. We will definitely have some elements of parkour in the show still, but with trampoline now. Yeah. Which is a foolproof formula that Cirque knows is good, and trampoline wall is powerful.
And Lanuba, Volta almost feels like an updated Lanuba in some ways. Because Lanuba also kind of has that urban element to it. Yeah. To me.
Yeah, I guess so. It's to a degree it does, but Volta is it's very new age, I would say. You have to see the show, but it's really tapping on some of today's societal problems, and whereas Lanuba was 20 years old, it had for that time maybe. Yeah.
So you talked a little bit earlier, and I think this is something very interesting, talking to other people who were athletes before they started doing circus, about the training cycles and how it's different. How do you, as a human being with a human body, adjust to those periods where you don't get rest, where you don't get that time off?
Yeah, a lot of discipline and a long career to figure out how your body works. Ultimately, I think it comes down to knowing yourself really well, and knowing what diet works for you, knowing what nutrition, knowing how much sleep you need, how much rest you need, how much socializing you need. It's also an important thing. It's just doing it.
Yeah, touring can be super lonely.
It can be, and you need to know yourself. You need to really know yourself. But this lifestyle does expose yourself to you, like being on the road, using your body as an instrument for your job. You have to remain grounded. We do 6 days a week, up to 10 shows a week. You have to remain consistent. You have to remain on top of your game, looking after yourself. And yeah, for me, it's been a journey learning the what my body can handle, what my mind can handle, and just going along the process and falling sometimes and rising sometimes. And yeah, just discipline and learning how to look after yourself.
And are there tricks? Like for me, I don't do my hardest tricks if I know that I've got a lot of shows.
Sure, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And is that how you go about it too, or some
we'll
people go ham?
We'll have a Royale version. I don't do any solo acts as of yet. I'm always part of a house troupe. I'm part of acts, and we will stipulate that we'll have a Royale version, and we'll do that maybe once a week, or if it's a big show, there's executives in the house or whatever, and that will be the big acts, the triples, the quads, the whatever we're doing for those shows. Then the rest of the nights we still have an extremely high level of acrobatic mandate.
Naturally.
But we'll rotate the people into those positions. Throughout the week we'll have so-and-so doing the big trick, and then the next day so-and-so doing the big trick. So we'll still keep the high level, but we'll rotate. And then for the Royale version, we'll put all the best people in the best positions for that position, and you will just do a massive explosion of acrobatics.
Nice.
So there's a formula to having longevity for yourself and making a career out of it, and not always putting the biggest things on stage all the time. Even though you will keep them there, you'll keep that good level, but rotating certain performers into those positions and cross-training performers into those positions so that you can sustain a 10-year career. so that you can sustain 10 shows a week, 6 nights a week.
Performing is a form of training, or you do get a lot of physical activity out of that, but how do you supplement that, or what is your
I like
day-to-day?
yoga. I really do a lot of yoga.
Cool.
I'm very big into
Me too.
yoga. Oh, I love it. I find it so good for body, mind, soul, stretching.
You hear that, guys? Yoga's good for you.
Oh, yoga's great, eh? Man, I've been recently doing some Kundalini yoga, and that's
Nice.
like next level, eh? It's like takes your mind and body somewhere else. But I really find for myself, I'm 33 now, so my body is not as supple and malleable as it used to be. But what really does help is a very good warm-up every day before the show.
Sure.
I don't really necessarily do weight training or anything specific like that anymore because the shows are so demanding, and I've been doing it for so long that I feel my body's on top of things. But what is essential is a good warm-up for myself. Like at least an hour and a half of warm-up and just moving and stretching and
nice.
Being in my zone, listening to music, just being with myself and just giving my body the love it needs and the attention it needs before going on stage and giving 100% every night. It's a really good warm-up is essential.
And as far as your day-to-day life when you're on tour, what does that look like? What is a day in the life of Brandon?
So let's see. It's a normal day. Wake up at 9, 10. Depending on where we stay, if it's a hotel or now we're in a beautiful house, I'll go outside. I'll try to be in nature as much as possible. I'm studying some courses, so I'll do maybe an hour or two of studying before having breakfast. I'm doing neuro-linguistic programming at the moment.
Whoa!
A practitioner's course, which is super cool. I've also got a whole bunch of acting workshops and stuff that I do, and I'm doing a master's class with Kevin Spacey at the moment. And yeah,
that's cool. What's Kevin Spacey? What's he like?
Cool. The workshop is, you don't meet him. He talks to the camera and then he gives a workshop to performers and actors and you participate in it.
Yeah, I've seen these.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's great.
Is it good?
He is amazing.
I mean, he's an amazing actor. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. Yeah. Though I hear he's quite creepy as a person.
I don't know anything about his personal life, but for his craft and his art, he's phenomenal. He's a great performer.
Yeah, man. American Beauty is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I think it's so awesome. And then, so one of the reasons I started this podcast was because when I was little and I wanted to be a circus artist, I didn't really know what that meant or how to get into it or what the life would be like. And so I kind of wanted to make something that I could have given to myself at that age and been like, this is what people do. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to Brandon at all those years ago, maybe even before 27 when you were in stunts, or at 27?
Now it's become a lot easier, I feel. When I was growing up, it was tricky to really get into. When we were growing up, it was tricky. Now with Instagram and this amazing boom of social media and stuff, it's really, really easy. Well, not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lifetime and career of hard work and training. But to get in touch with Cirque du Soleil or the Seven Fingers or Eloise or Franco Dragone, it's really possible. You can go on their websites. You can audition. You can send in demos. I personally think the best way to go about it, from my experience of working with people, is circus school. I know in Montreal they have an incredibly good circus school, and most of the people that I've worked with who went to the circus school have if circus is your goal, I think it's a great place to start. Do some form of acrobatics when you're younger or some circus school, but if you can go to a really good circus school like the ENC in Montreal, or there's I think some really good ones in France and stuff, it just gives you that. You get the theoretical knowledge of circus. You'll learn 3-4 different training things, the disciplines. You have your peers who are training you, have worked in circus. It's a really good start, I'd say, for a career. If you can put away 4 years and go and study it, it's, yeah.
That's what you would tell little Brandon to do?
That's what I would. And if I had that opportunity, if I knew there was a circus school and I had the funding and I could have done it, I would have, without a doubt, gone to ENC, or without a doubt, it would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a curriculum designed for people who are interested in the arts. You learn acting, you learn dance, you learn circus, you learn everything. You learn Charlie Chaplin comedy. You learn so many different things. It's, yeah. Yeah, you can't get nourished like that anywhere else. Like as an athlete, it's great and you can definitely transition into it from there and make a career afterwards. But if it's your dream, like now I'm on stage, I can see it's my passion and dream. So if I could tell a younger Brandon, I would have gone straight to circus school.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Go to circus school. It's funny, you're the second person who has said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Go to circus school.
it's those are the best places I think for now. Yeah.
For sure.
And you get experience. I went to go watch their graduation last year, and man, like what they're putting on, these students, 22, 23 years old, is full on. It's a production. They learn how to create their own costumes. They learn how to look after the business sides. They learn how to market themselves. They learn how to diversify. They learn so many things. It becomes you look after yourself like you're a business. You learn to develop your social media of yourself, and which unfortunately as an athlete I didn't get that knowledge of. Like now being in the circus for 7 years, I've learned how to network and look after myself.
Yeah.
But if you can start that by the time you're 21, 22 and then step into this career, it's fantastic.
You're golden.
Yeah.
But then how did you know to put your diving on YouTube all those years ago?
I started in the film industry, and that was
with your stunt work.
Yeah, so we put
Circle,
on demos. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was a demo. And then, so how it actually happened is they contacted me and they were like, oh, they like what they see. I had some Russian swing into water, and the House of Dancing Water had that, and some high diving. And then they asked for a specific demo where I had to film strength conditioning and things like that. And then I sent that in. And then 2 weeks later, I moved to China.
Were you like freaking out? Were you like, oh my God?
No, because it was just, I didn't know anything about Franco Dragone and circus and stuff. So I just got this random email from this lady at this Franco Dragone casting and asked me to do all these funny things, holding my breath for 1 minute, 25 chin-ups, etc., etc. And I just thought, hell yeah, it's a challenge. Why not? Me and my friend filmed it, and I think I got the email on the Wednesday saying by the Monday I sent it to them. And by the Tuesday, they're like, cool, can you come to China in 2 weeks? And yeah, I was open. I was a freelance stuntman, so I didn't have anything specifically lined up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. It's been 7 years now since then.
Well, that is our time.
Cool.
So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It's just cool.
That was my interview with Brandon. Pretty cool, right? I would love to do a wrap-up, but I feel like Brandon did a really great job of explaining himself and his experience. If you want to stalk him on Instagram, and you should because he's very cute, you can find him at Brandon Livanos. That's Brandon, Brandon. Livanos is Livanos. It's all one word, Brandon Livanos. For podcast updates and aerial training tips, you can find me on Instagram at _artist_athlete. And if you have comments, you can go to my website. Mom, if you're listening, it's http://www.theartistathlete.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. And next week, I have the sexy and deadly Inca, a professional contortionist who holds the Guinness World Record for the farthest arrow shot from a bow using her feet. See y'all then.